Now we're going to handle part B of our earlier problem from example 6a. We're still trying to find out now in part B what the tangent of the difference between A and B are. Tan of A minus B. We're going to use what was given to us before in the initial part of the problem. We're going to cosine A is negative 7 over 25, sine B is negative 3 over 5, and the fact that A is in quadrant 3, B is in quadrant 4. That was all given to us. But then, in the course of doing part A, we solved for the sine of A minus B. And the sine of A minus B is negative 117 over 125. And in the course of solving for the sine of A minus B, we needed to find out what the sine of A equaled and the cosine of B equaled. We found out that the sine of A was negative 24 over 25, and the cosine of B was positive 4 over 5. These are both in part A. They weren't the answer to part A, but we needed to find these in order to get to our answer, and we're going to continue to use all of this information in part B. So first, let's remind ourselves, here's the tan sum and difference formulas, and since we want to find the tangent of A minus B, we're going to use tan A minus tan B over 1 plus tan A times tan B. Well, if we use that formula, let's take a look at that. Okay. Tan A minus tan B over 1 plus tan A times tan B. Well, we don't know what tan A or tan B are, so we've got to calculate what tan A and tan B are. Well, if we got it, tangent of an angle, in this case tangent of A, can be thought of as being sine of angle A over cosine of angle A. Tangent sine over cosine. And sine of angle A, we calculated that out from part A. So sine of angle A is negative 24 over 25. Negative 24 over 25. And cosine of A was given to us. That's negative 7 over 25. Well, remember that dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So we really have negative 24 over 25 in the numerator, and instead of dividing by negative 7 over 25, we're going to multiply by 25 over negative 7, the reciprocal. And that's really handy, because at first glance this looks like a difficult problem, but look, I get to divide out the 25s, and negative divided by negative is a positive. I'm left with positive 24 over 7. No muss, no fuss. That really was a lot easier than it initially looked. So the tangent of B is going to be sine B over sine B, just like tangent of A was sine A over cosine A. Well, let's skip this step and go right to what was the sine of angle B. The sine of angle B was given to us. Sine of angle B is negative 3 over 5. And the cosine of angle B we calculated in part A, that was 4 over 5. If a lot of these numbers are looking familiar, think Pythagorean triple, we're going to show you another way to do this problem that I think is far more intuitive, but we're going to do it this way first. Alright, so again, we have the numerator is negative 3 over 5, and instead of dividing by 4 over 5, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is 5 over 4. The 5s are going to divide out, just like the 25s divided out over here. We're left with negative 3 over 4. Don't drop the sign. We've now found out what the tangent of A is, and we've found out what the tangent of angle B is. And we can use these in our formula here. So let's do that. Tan A, that's 24 over 7. write it over here. 24 over 7 minus tan b. So minus, we've got a negative 3 over 4. That's why I put it in parentheses, just so we don't drop a sign. That's all in the numerator, tan a minus tan b. And then the denominator, we have 1 plus tan a times tan b. Tan a, tan b. So we're just simply going to multiply tan a, which is 24 over 7, times tan b, which is negative 3 over 4. Remember, you're subtracting up here, you're multiplying down here, and you're adding right here. So in the numerator, a lot going on here, right? Ooh, we need a common denominator. It looks like 7 times 4. I'm going to have to multiply top and bottom of this by 4 over 4. 24 times 4 is 96. We actually did that multiplication back in part A. And 4 times 7 is 28. Negative times a negative. Sorry, we're not multiplying. Well, yeah, we are. Negative times a negative. We're adding, right? This is 7 times top and bottom. 7 times 3. 7 times 4. There's our common denominator. I'm going to ultimately write my numerator as being 117 over 28. Hey, I remember 117 coming from this answer over here. Kind of interesting. So in the denominator, we have 1 plus, and now we're multiplying, 24 times a negative 3. So this is going to be a negative number. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So that's a negative 72. And here's a 4 times. I don't need to multiply this negative twice, right? So if I put it up here, don't put it down here. Don't add a sign, right? Opposite of dropping a sign, adding a sign. Top and bottom of this, 20, right? Oh no, I'm sorry, multiplying, not adding. 7 times 4, 28. And remember, 1, master of disguise, 1 is 28 over 28. We want to be able to add those denominators together. So in the denominator of our fraction here, we have 28 over 28 plus a negative 72. Well, negative 72 from 28, that's a negative 44. Check my math. I've been known to make mistakes. No. Anyway, look at that. So that looks complicated, but again, it's not, because we're going to invert and multiply. Our numerator is 117 over 28. Our denominator is negative 44 over 28, so we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of 28 over negative 44, just like we did here and here. These are going to divide out. We're left with negative 117 over 44, and that's the tangent of A minus B. Now I don't need a lengthy video to do part C, so I'm going to do that right here, right? This was the answer to part B. But part C of this problem is asking us what quadrant, what quadrant the angle A minus B, right? This is an angle, right? It's the difference between two angles, and that in and of itself is an angle. It's like if I had a 60-degree angle minus a 12-degree angle, you know, I'd have a 48-degree angle. So that's an angle. So how do I determine what quadrant we're in? Well, let's take a look. This is really easy. In part A, we got that the sine of A minus B, that's angle A minus B, was negative 117 over 125. This is what we want to look at, this negative sign. We're thinking quadrants, right? We've played this game before. We have 4 quadrants. Which quadrants is sine negative in? Well, sine is y, so sine is negative in quadrant 3 and in quadrant 4. The tangent of this angle, A minus B, right, is negative as well. And tangent is negative in quadrant 2 and in quadrant 4. Well, this is the only quadrant. Quadrant 4 is the only quadrant that meets both criteria of our previous answers. So this entire problem came together. A led to B, A and B lead to C. This angle has to be in quadrant 4. It's the only quadrant where sine is negative and tangent is negative. And there we have it.